I know courage is one of your core values. And you did speak about even this decision to go back to medical school, how it was scary, but you still went forward with it. And I love how you emphasize, it's not the big things, it's the little things in life, right?
It definitely is. When I decided to go to medical school, for example, I'd been thinking about it for a long time. I'd been thinking about it on and off over the years, and I would talk myself out of it. I'm like, what am I thinking? I'm too old. This is too late. I have 2 kids. I have a stable career. I should be happy with it. I'm climbing the ranks in the corporate and banking world. But just something was kept pushing and nudging. And then during COVID, the whole world pretty much paused, and so did I. So I had the time and opportunity to really reflect on what I want to do instead of what I was doing simply because it made sense from a society point of view, or because of obligations, or because of the fear of not being able to meet those obligations and responsibilities. As I started to really look into my own self, and I actually took a month off and I went on this solo road trip around across Quebec last year in August. When I went on the trip, I had no itinerary, no plan, no bookings. All I had was an SUV and 2 pillows and a blanket.
And just you?
And just me and a couple of pillows and some water. And I said, you know what, I'm just going to drive aimlessly, and I'm going to end up in whatever town I end up. And if I find a hotel, great. If not, then I will sleep in my car. And the point of that trip was that I'm really going to practice acting on my intuition. So if I feel a nudge to go down a certain detour while I'm driving, I'm not going to talk myself out of it. And I'm not going to think, oh, I'll be late for my destination, or I shouldn't do this or whatnot. There was no destination. So it was all just liberating myself from thinking and going in more into doing what I felt, acting on intuition. So as I went through that trip, and it became more second nature and more habit, I would feel a nudge and I would go down a detour, and then I would find this beautiful beach, or I would find someone sitting watching a sunset, and I would have a great conversation, and then they would sort of say something, oh, you need to visit this place, and then I would go there. And it got me into this mindset of really listening to my own inner voice rather than all the voices around me. And as I started doing that, and I was listening to this really wonderful audiobook on mental health and trauma. And as a speaker over the years, I've been so interested in mental health, and I've been reading psychiatry and psychology books about trauma for years, just to be able to help heal myself from the trauma that I've experienced, but also help support my children through their own healing. And then listening to this book, there were so many things that appealed to me. I was so interested in all the research that the author mentioned and the science behind it. And I was like, oh my God, I wish I could do this work. And then I was like, but why can't I? Of course I can. And I realized that the only person standing in my way was myself because of the fears. And again, courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is, yes, I'm afraid, but I really feel strongly about this, so I'm going to do it anyway. So I decided to get out of my own way, and I applied to medical school. And I was like, yeah, I don't know if I'm going to get in. It's extremely competitive. 6,000 people apply every year in 200 spots, a 3% or less than 3% acceptance rate. But I'm never going to know if I don't try. You miss all the shots you don't take. I decided to apply, and I got in, and here we are. Now I'm 6 months in and doing really well. And every day I wake up with intense disbelief and gratitude that I'm here actually becoming a doctor. And there's no age limit to learning. There's no age limit to dreams and making those dreams come true. And yes, you will find naysayers. You will find people who will try to talk you out of it, because they will say, like, I had people who were like, oh, it's too late. What are you thinking? You have a stable career, all that. But I've realized that when people tell you that you cannot do something, they're not showing you your limits, they're showing you their limits. Because they can't see themselves do something, that they're going to try to talk you out of that too. So if you feel you can do it, that's the only person you need permission from, is you. And when you give yourself that permission, you will find the people who will believe in you and champion you. And so did I. So hopefully my decision and my story will give inspiration and help people find their own courage, which I believe courage lies within us. We just need to be able to learn how to trust it and act on it.
It's so true that our intuition is so powerful, yet so many of us are disconnected to it. And
because we live in a world where we're almost like in a hamster wheel of doing. We keep going, doing. You know, we have work, we have kids, we have families, we have volunteer work, we have other things that we're involved in, and we're constantly in a do mode, never in a be mode.
Yes.
It's important to go from doing all the time to just being. In those quiet moments when you're actually being and connected with your own inner self is when your intuition speaks to you.
Mm-hmm.
I took that time away and I told my children, I will talk to you once a day just to catch up, and you're not going to call me unless there's an actual emergency. And I took that time away and I went by myself. In those 30 days, I was just being. There was nothing to do. There was no meeting. There was nothing impending deadlines, none of that. It was simply me and connecting with my voice and my mind. And it was the most amazing and liberating time ever. I never would have given myself the permission. I never would have thought of applying to medical school if I hadn't given myself that space.